Not every tractor becomes a symbol of progress. Some machines left farmers stranded in the field, drained bank accounts, and earned reputations so damaging that they vanished forever. Behind every rusting relic is a story of design missteps, engines that failed, controls that drove owners to frustration, and promises that fell apart. Why were these 8 tractors so widely disliked that manufacturers cut their losses and moved on? The answer reveals a hard lesson about what happens when ambition outpaces reliability. In 1961, Ford set out to make a statement with its first big 6-cylinder row crop tractor, the Ford 6000. The company promised a leap forward, more power, a modern design, and a bold, new diesel engine. That ambition would soon meet the realities of farm work. Early production machines ran into trouble in the field. These tractors used wet sleeve diesel engines that were sensitive to coolant chemistry. If coolant was not kept within tight limits, internal damage could follow. Farmers reported engines failing long before their expected life, sometimes because cavitation ate away at the cylinder sleeves from the inside. The Select O-Speed power shift transmission was paired with this untested engine, and the combination added complexity that few rural mechanics wanted to tackle. Breakdowns became more common, and owners began to lose trust in the model. Reliability suffered as a result. Ford responded with a wide recall. The company repainted many tractors from red to blue and relaunched the model as the 6000 Commander. But the damage to the tractor's reputation was already done. Competitors such as John Deere and International Harvester offered simpler, more dependable options, and sales for the 6000 never recovered. By 1967, Ford quietly ended production. Today, the Ford 6000 is remembered as a collector's oddity and a cautionary example. Its legacy is a reminder of what can happen when design ambition outpaces thorough, field-tested reliability. Early engineering misfires. International Harvester 3588, known as the 2+2, rolled out between 1978 and 1981 with a promise to blend row crop agility and 4-wheel drive power. Engineers split the tractor's frame. They mounted the cab and engine up front and connected a powered rear axle behind an articulation joint. This unusual geometry created a distinctive look, and it created new headaches. The driveline had to transmit power through multiple joints at sharp angles, especially as the tractor flexed in the field. Under heavy loads, those joints and couplings wore out quickly, leading to frequent breakdowns and expensive repairs. Farmers complained about an awkward turning radius in tight spaces, and mechanics spent long hours replacing universal joints and shafts buried deep in the chassis. High operating costs and downtime frustrated owners, especially when parts had to be ordered from distant warehouses. In a market crowded with simpler, more robust 4-wheel drive options, the 2+2's complexity worked against it. Production ended after just a few years, and the model faded as International Harvester's financial troubles deepened. Today, the 3588 stands out as a collector's curiosity, remembered as much for its ambitious design as for the maintenance bills it left behind. Belarus tractors arrived in the West, promising affordable horsepower at a time when new machines from major brands cost far more. The Belarus 825 part of the 80 horsepower export series from the 1980s, lured buyers with its low sticker price and robust, simple mechanics. But the bargain came with a catch. The electrical systems seemed to fight their owners at every turn. Export models adapted quickly to meet Western lighting and safety rules, used basic wiring looms and connectors that rarely held up in damp or muddy conditions. Corroded terminals, flickering lights, and unpredictable gauges became routine headaches. Cold mornings often meant a dead starter or a battery that would not charge, and tracking down the cause could take hours. Farmers grumbled that a tractor built to survive Siberia could be sidelined by a cheap relay or bad ground, while the engine and driveline could run for years with care. Electrical faults left owners stranded and frustrated. As used John Deere and Massey Ferguson models flooded the market, the Belarus 825's reputation for gremlins, combined with thin dealer support, pushed it to the margins. Today, some still run on shoestring farms, but most are remembered as stubborn, cranky machines, cheap to buy, and costly in lost time. Massey Ferguson's 1105, built from 1973 to 1978, entered the market with a promise of 110 horsepower and a bold response to the horsepower race of the 1970s. But as farmers put these tractors to work, a costly pattern surfaced. The engine delivered impressive power, yet the rear end and final drives struggled to handle the constant torque. Many owners found themselves rebuilding rear differentials after only a few seasons of heavy tillage or pulling large implements. The transmission and axle components were sized for earlier, less powerful models, and they could not reliably withstand the increased loads. Repeated failures forced some operators to avoid using the full power, turning what should have been a flagship into a liability. In a period when John Deere and International Harvester were reinforcing their drivetrains to match rising engine outputs, Massey Ferguson's decision to stretch an older platform left the model exposed. By the end of the 1970s, the model was replaced by updated designs with stronger drivetrains. Today, the 1105 is remembered as a cautionary tale, capable, but only as strong as its weakest link. David Brown's 1210, produced between 1972 and 1976, aimed to bring modern features to the medium horsepower market, with roughly 72 horsepower on tap. For many owners, the promise of versatility was quickly overshadowed by a persistent problem: the power takeoff clutch. Farmers relying on the 1210 to run mowers, balers, or spreaders often found the PTO clutch slipping or failing altogether, especially under heavy loads. This was more than an inconvenience. It meant implements ground to a halt in the middle of critical field work, leaving crops at risk and schedules in disarray. Mechanics pointed to undersized clutch components and a design that struggled to cope with the demands of larger modern implements. When breakdowns happened, parts could be slow to arrive, especially outside the UK, and smaller dealer networks left many owners waiting days or even weeks for repairs. As larger competitors improved their reliability and service, the 1210's reputation suffered. Production ended after just a few years, and the David Brown name faded as the company was absorbed into Case. Today, the 1210 is remembered as a symbol of a brand that could not keep pace with changing expectations, its legacy tied to downtime and missed opportunities in the field. When JCB introduced the Fastrac Model 2155 in 1998, it was unlike anything most farmers had seen. With a top road speed of 80 kilometers per hour and full suspension on both axles, the Fastrac promised to blur the line between tractor and truck. The engineering team aimed for comfort and speed, fitting the model with advanced electronics, ABS braking, and four-wheel steering. But this leap in technology brought new headaches. Owners soon reported trouble with electric spool valves that would fail or act unpredictably, sometimes leaving hydraulic implements stuck mid-task. Steering angle sensors exposed to road salt and fertilizer could malfunction and confuse the tractor's steering mode. Wiring looms, packed tightly and prone to moisture, made electrical faults hard to trace, especially as the wires aged and their printed numbers faded. Mechanics found that even small electrical issues could immobilize the machine, and repairs often required specialist knowledge or parts that were hard to source. For some farmers, the comfort and speed justified the extra maintenance, but others grew frustrated with repeated downtime and the overall complexity of the systems. Later generations of the Fastrac improved reliability and dealer support, but the early model remains a reminder that pushing boundaries in design can bring both progress and pain. Today, well-kept examples are respected for their innovation, yet many farmers still remember those first machines for their unpredictable service calls. Ford's push into the high-horsepower market continued in the mid-1960s with the introduction of the 8000. This tractor promised 105 power takeoff horsepower and a modern look, aiming to compete head-to-head with the Giant's Deere and International Harvester. But beneath the bold styling, a complex transmission design brought new headaches. The internal splines and gears, built to handle heavy loads, often wore out faster than expected, especially if maintenance was not meticulous. When these components failed, repairs were anything but simple. Overhauling the transmission meant disassembling much of the tractor's rear end, driving up costs, and keeping the tractor sidelined during critical work periods. For many farmers, a single breakdown could mean a week or more of lost time and a repair bill that rivaled the price of a used tractor. As word spread, confidence in the 8000's reliability faded. Ford responded with upgraded models, but early 8000 models quickly lost favor, remembered more for their repair bills than their field performance. Today they serve as a cautionary tale of how ambitious engineering can backfire when complexity outpaces durability. The Allis-Chalmers Model 6140 entered the North American market in the mid-1980s as a compact utility tractor, powered by a Toyota diesel and built by Hinomoto in Japan. At first, it offered reliable performance for chores like mowing and light hauling, earning praise from owners who valued its efficiency and easy starting. It felt dependable and well-suited to small farm work, a quietly useful machine. But the timing of its release proved fateful. In 1985, Allis-Chalmers sold its farm equipment division to Deutz, forming Deutz-Allis. As the new owners focused on larger core models, small imports like the 6140 faded from priority. Over the years, sourcing replacement parts became a growing challenge. Components unique to the Japanese build, especially engine and drivetrain parts, grew scarce as dealer shelves emptied and original suppliers shifted focus or closed. Owners began to describe the 6140 as a Japanese-made orphan, dependable until a breakdown left them searching for parts that were no longer available. That reputation stuck, and it shaped how farmers thought about the tractor. Today, even well-maintained examples are seen as being on borrowed time, their future limited not by mechanical wear, but by a vanished supply chain and the difficulty of finding critical spares. Today, every new tractor faces scrutiny shaped by these vanished failures. As modern machines grow more complex, the cost of design mistakes rises, and those costs are often measured in lost seasons and livelihoods. The lesson endures. Progress demands honesty about flaws. Even in agriculture, the past never fully leaves the field. Share your thoughts below.